Good morning, everyone. Thanks for coming out on a rainy day. But this announcement will put a smile on your face and make everyone feel good about what's going on in the city. As you know, the city has been working with neighbors and stakeholders to revitalize Jacobsville for these last 8 years. The city, through the Department of Metropolitan Development, completed the North Main Complete Street project in 2017. The new dialysis center opened in the old CVS store at the corner of North Main and Columbia, creating a nice mid-corridor anchor. And the DMD also created 3 off-street parking courts for businesses, replacing on-street parking as a result of the Complete Street project. This year, we announced that the location of the new Deaconess Aquatic Center will be at Garvin Park, adjacent to Bosse Field, creating a nice northern anchor for North Main. Today, I'm excited and pleased to announce plans for a new southern anchor for North Main Street. In 2018, the former Buehler's IGA closed, and when that closed, it left a large vacant building standing, which has been an eyesore and has really been not a very good thing for that neighborhood, let's just say. But it has drawn the interest of a lot of potential investors, including the team that you're going to meet today, House Investments. They began discussing the property and proposed a project with DMD and the Promise Zone in early 2018. So we've been working on this for a while now. There have been a lot of hurdles to overcome, but a clear path has now been identified. And I'm pleased today to introduce Matt Gattis and Rob Drury to let everyone know about the Lofts on Main project. They have some really dynamic renderings, and I give you an idea today on how this project is going to proceed. But very pleased to announce and introduce Matt and Rob and thank them for their patience and their vision for helping us create this southern anchor on North Main Street, which will help all of Jacobsville and the Promise Zone. Matt?
Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah.
I'd like to personally thank you all for being here today. As the Mayor mentioned, my name is Matt Gattis. I'm here with Rob Drury. We're with House Investments based in Indianapolis, Indiana. House Investments is an Indianapolis-based commercial real estate developer that has been in business since 1968. Given our 40 years of experience, House Investments has experience in every type of real estate investment, development, and management. Since our inception in 1978, House Investments has invested approximately $500 million in real estate projects throughout the state of Indiana, with a focus on multi-family apartments, both market rate and affordable, and also senior housing as well. As the Mayor mentioned, we've been working on this project behind the scenes for several months now. It was actually probably about a year ago when we first sat down with Silas from the Evansville Promise Zone and started discussing ideas and impacts and potential projects in the Promise Zone here in Evansville. As the Mayor mentioned, the site location is the former IGA on North Main Street in Jacobsville. We're extremely excited about the project and the location for several reasons. First is we see a lot of potential in Jacobsville. As the Mayor mentioned, one of the biggest assets that Jacobsville now has is the Main Street revitalization. The city spent a significant amount of money, millions of dollars, to revitalize that area and put a trail or path all the way from Garvin Park, and that connects to downtown Evansville, which will be an asset for our development, but also Jacobsville as a whole. Second, the employers. Jacobsville has a unique employer base where they have 3 of the largest employers in Evansville, with Deaconess Hospital, Vectron, which is now a Centerpoint company, and also Berry Global. So that the unique factor that 3 of the largest employers are within walking distance of this site is one of the reasons that attracted us to it. As the Mayor also mentioned, the recent announcement of the Deaconess Aquatic Center up in Garvin Park. We truly feel, to reiterate the Mayor's point, is that that's going to be a north anchor, and this project will be the south anchor of that North Main Street drag in Jacobsville. Next is the strong community organizations, several of which are in attendance here today, so thank you for being here. Silas and the Promise Zone, they've done a lot of good things, and we are actively working on a partnership with Echo Housing that will hopefully bring them in on a project as well. And then lastly, it is an opportunity zone. As part of the 2017 Tax Cut and Jobs Act, qualified census tracts were identified as promise zones, as opportunity zones, which provide specific tax incentives or benefits to investment into those areas. Now, as for the project itself, the project will be a mixed-use project with 180 apartments and 15,000 square feet of commercial space. The residential component of the project will target workforce housing, and that means that it will target residents who make between 60 and 120% of the area median income in Evansville. For example, the area median income in Vanderburgh County is $47,100. So if you take that to our target market, the target income ranges for the individuals will be between $28,000 and $57,000. And then the rents based on those income levels will be between $530 and $1,200 per month. As for the commercial space, we've been working in conjunction with the city to attract a grocery tenant to the space. The city has spent a significant amount of time, money, and effort, and as many of you are aware, engaged a consultant, MTN, out of Salt Lake, to provide us the market study and data needed to attract a grocer to that space. So we are now in the process of utilizing that market study and that data provided by MTN to try to find a potential fit for that commercial space as far as a grocery tenant. Before I close, I would like to thank a couple groups. One, the City of Evansville Mayor Kelly Coors and the DMD. Couldn't have gotten here today without both of your help and your team's help, so appreciate that very much. Vectron Foundation, Tom Moore, but Amanda Schmidt's here as well. You know, when we sat down with Silas a year ago, we were also sitting down with the Vectron Foundation, and they have a commitment to Jacobsville, and this project is one that they're supporting, so we appreciate that as well. In closing, you know, House Investments, we plan to be a long-term community partner in Jacobsville and in Evansville, and we believe that this project will be a catalyst for additional development and investment into Jacobsville. Thank you.
Before we take questions, I just really want to stress one of the points that Matt made. This is a mixed-use development. It's more than just apartments, more than just living. 15,000 square feet dedicated to commercial space. It is our hope, that we can get a grocer to go into this facility, and certainly Kelly and his team are working very diligently with House Investments to try and make that happen. So with that, we'd be happy to take any questions from anyone.
Timeline, the goal is a spring start. So we're working through we've got our due diligence done, gotten financing commitment, we're working through the rest of those, and then going into construction drawings. We plan on closing on the ground in December.
Will you be asking the city government or the state government for public forms of financial incentive?
So this is workforce housing, so there is typically a gap in these type of projects. And so we're talking with the city about TIF bond proceeds, and then also a 10-year tax abatement as well.
What's the size of the apartments? One bedroom, two bedrooms?
Studios, ones and twos.
You said that you're wanting a grocery store to come in. I know they also were looking to put one in downtown Evansville as well. People are asking for that. What all goes into making sure grocery stores feel like this is a good investment for them?
So grocery stores, they look at the data points. They care about traffic right out in front of how much traffic and daily cars go right by the front of the location, and then also population. So that's what they're looking for, and we're trying to find the right fits where the data and the market study fits the needs of the particular grocery we're trying to identify.
What do you already have those numbers already?
Yeah, so we have the initial data, and we have MTN Group. They really unique concept where they take certain grocer flags and run data based off their model, and can kind of project what certain stores' revenue would be.
So at this point, what do you have to attract, say, a grocer? What is your pitch to potential grocers?
The pitch is it's a food desert. It's needed, both in Jacobsville but also downtown Evansville. The pitch is we're adding 180 customers right above, with the post house in downtown Evansville, 144 apartment units, and I think there's others down the line in the works that the residential units are coming to downtown Evansville. So the pitch is to try to get the grocer to jump in before they're actually built, where typically they like to wait until it's done and then come in. So
And the commuter traffic.
and the commuter traffic, yeah.
And ideally, on the 15,000 square foot, how big would the grocery store be, and how much other retail space would be available in that?
So that depends on the grocery concept. Some we're looking at would take up the entire 15,000 square feet. Others would be more of an urban fit, which would take anywhere from 5 to 10. And if they take 5 to 10, we'd backfill with other commercial.
And what type of businesses would be ideal for that, in that particular community that already seems to have some trouble maintaining tenants?
So I think finding commercial tenants that could be an amenity not only to the tenants of the building, but also their surrounding businesses. If you think of Jacobsville, and with Vectron right across the street, Berry and Deaconess, I picture a quick service lunch spot to where those workers don't have to go very far and can find and get food quickly and then go back to their jobs within the neighborhood.
What are the parameters of this project? What buildings are you gonna have to take out to make it fit?
So we have the whole block of where the IGA is located under contract. So there's the former IGA building, and then there's a metalwork shop right next to it. There's actually two separate owners, so we would demolish those buildings and really scrape the site and start from scratch.
This area has kind of become a haven for the homeless community in Evansville. Are you worried at all about displacing them even further?
No, we're not displacing it because there's nothing there right now. So, Echo Housing and Silas, they're doing a great job of providing affordable housing, low-income housing for individuals in Jacobsville. We truly think by providing a mixed income community, it's going to add another layer up to the resident population, which will be good for Jacobsville in the long run as you add another demographic to the area.
Do you think the stigma of that community is going to hurt this housing development? I mean, someone wants to spend $1,200 a month for an apartment, but the house across the street's boarded up. I'm not sure I would be on with that.
So I would challenge that a lot, actually. What we're seeing is renewed interest and investment along that entire corridor. And as I said earlier, think about the Deaconess Aquatic Center at the northern end. Think about the dialysis center, mid-corridor, and now this. You have 3 large anchors. You have very successful businesses that are thriving in that neighborhood today. I think this becomes even more attractive for future investment.
Mayor, the land bank's taken down well over 150 ordinance structures in the area.
There you go. Yeah, as I in my opening statement, we think this project will be a catalyst for other investment, other development, especially with the employers in the area.
So your company has purchased this property?
We have it under contract, but we're closing in December.
Okay.
And we've gotten through our due diligence period and all of that, so it's green light.
I know you said you wanted to start in spring. Do you know about how long these projects usually take? People might be like, oh, that looks cool, I want to move in tomorrow.
So anywhere from 12 to 18 months from the construction, once we get started turning dirt from that standpoint. The project it's a 4-story mixed-use building along Main Street, and then along the side streets, so Franklin and Baker, there's 3-story walk-ups. I imagine that they'll get done in phases to where the 3-story walk-ups would be available before the 4-story, just so we can kind of phase that in.
Has your company in its history taken on any comparable projects in a high poverty area of the city this size? Anything you compare this to?
So we've, as I mentioned, we have experience both in market rate and affordable housing, and we have significant experience in commercial construction itself. This is our first workforce housing where we're remixing really having some 60%, which would be affordable units, and quote unquote market rate with the workforce housing. So Comparable projects in and of itself, no, but we have experience in every aspect of the project.
But it is not income-based, correct?
So it is income-based, but at a higher, traditional affordable housing is 60% below. And so this is gonna be focused on that 60 to 120, which is really a gap, if you look at the housing options in Evansville, but around the state of Indiana.
So in theory, somebody that makes $100,000 wouldn't qualify to live there because they would make too much, is that right?
So we have, correct, that is correct, yes, yeah. The structure is 10% will be at 60% AMI, 80% will be at 100% AMI, and then 10% would be at 120.
So, from what you said about the incomes, 28 to 57, so you are targeting people who work in the Jacobsville, like Deaconess, Vectren, Berry?
Yes, the goal is to provide people a place to live, work, and play in Jacobsville. There's not a lot of options if people make over a certain amount of money in Jacobsville right now, so providing that and providing people, a place to stay and along the North Main Street corridor, hopefully businesses, commercial businesses will follow because there'll be additional resident base along that corridor.
From the picture behind you, which street is which street on there? So that we
This
can
is,
kind of.
this is North Main Street, this is Illinois, this is Baker.
Frank.
Oh, Franklin, this is
Yeah.
Illinois, and this is Baker, sorry. So this
Okay.
this is North Main, the North Main
Okay.
corridor.
And so the grocery store that you're talking about would be located toward the inside?
So this is North Main right here, that's all the
It'd be
commercial
on that
space.
corner.
Yeah, it'd be corner, but really all the commercial space is gonna front North Main Street. The space over here, that'll be amenity space for the development.
Would they be able to get into those locations from the inside or only the parking on the outside?
From the inside, we'd have parking, as you can see over here, parking's on the inside, we'd have spots.
Okay.
On the photograph that we were just looking at, those buildings are all situated on the current IGA property, right?
Correct, yes. Yep. We do have overflow parking, not on the IGA property. We have like 20 or 26 spaces. to be overflow.
What about the parking spaces?
So we're working through that with the architect right now, and with the city. I think there might be a couple additional options for some overflow parking, but we're at least gonna have minimum one per unit with the goal of increasing that to a little higher ratio.
What would the amenities be for the tenants that would live? Has it been discussed yet, a pool or any type of exercise area?
No pool, but fitness room, obviously community space, 24-hour package delivery room, which is a newer concept with Amazon and FedEx, to where it's 24-hour secured drop off and delivery, so the packages are secure for the tenants, and a business center as well.
Would there be certain parking just for the grocery, the retail part of it?
Yes, yeah, that would be, once we find the concept from the grocer standpoint, identifying how many spots they need, and we'd secure those for them.